In a small village in Zimbabwe, there lived a widow named Marita. She was always envious of her neighbor, a woman named Chipo, who was happily married with 2 children, a boy named Tawanda and a girl named Rutendo. Marita was lonely and bitter and often watched Chipo's family with longing. She desired the love and warmth that filled their home. One day, Marita hatched a plan to steal Chipo's husband, Farai. She sought the help of a witch doctor named Gogo Mutasa, who was known for her powerful magic. Marita told Gogo Mutasa about her plan, and the old witch doctor agreed to help. She gave Marita a bottle of love potion, instructing her to bathe in water mixed with the potion every day. The magic herbs in the potion were said to make her irresistible to any man. Marita followed Gogo Mutasa's instructions diligently. Each day, she bathed in the enchanted water, her heart filled with dark desires. As the days passed, Farai began to notice Marita. As her charm grew stronger, he found himself drawn to her. One fateful evening, Farai returned home and accused Chipo of infidelity. Shocked and heartbroken, Chipo tried to defend herself, but Farai would not listen. He chased her away from their home, leaving Tawanda and Rutendo behind. Chipo left the village, her heart heavy with sorrow. Marita wasted no time moving in with Farai, becoming the new wife and stepmother to Tawanda and Rutendo. The villagers were stunned by the sudden change, but no one knew that dark magic was at play. Not long after Chipo left, the villagers received news that she had passed away. Some believed that she died of a broken heart. Life for Tawanda and Rutendo changed very quickly with Marita in their home. She was cruel as a stepmother, mistreating them every day. Marita made them work from dawn till dusk, doing all the chores and more. She beat them for the smallest mistakes and starved them, giving them just enough food to survive. The villagers noticed the children's misery, but were too afraid to intervene. Marita had become more powerful, and her presence instilled fear in everyone. During the day, she would torment Tawanda and Rutendo, making their lives unbearable. But as the sun began to set, Marita's behavior changed. She dressed the children in clean clothes and gave them large portions of food. However, the children were not allowed to eat until their father, Farai, had come home. Marita wanted Farai to believe that she was a kind and caring stepmother. Farai, tired from working in the fields, was easily deceived by her act. He saw the clean, well-fed children and believed Marita was taking good care of them. Tawanda and Rutendo tried to tell their father about the cruelty they faced, but he did not believe them. Farai thought they were just making up stories because they missed their mother. Marita's plan seemed perfect. She had everything she wanted, but the spirits had other plans. The injustice done to Chipo would not go unpunished. The evil stepmother's reign of terror was about to be challenged by a force she could not control. One night, Marita woke up to strange noises coming from the kitchen. She heard pots and pans clanging, dishes being moved about, and soft whispers. Her heart pounded with fear as she crept towards the kitchen to investigate. To her horror, she saw the ghost of Chipo, her face twisted with grief and anger. Chipo's ghost was there to seek justice for the wrongs done to her and her children. She moved around the kitchen, scattering dishes and creating a mess. Marita screamed and ran back to her bed, but Farai and the children had not heard or seen anything unusual. They slept soundly, unaware of the ghostly presence. Every night, the ghost returned to the kitchen. She continued to cause havoc, but before dawn, She would clean up the mess, light the fire, and prepare food for her children. Marita was the only one who saw and heard the ghost. Her terror grew with each passing night. Marita tried to tell Farai about the ghost, but he did not believe her. He thought Marita was losing her mind. The children, unaware of the ghost, believed that Marita was doing all the work in the house. They started to see her as a hard-working but troubled woman. The torment continued night after night. The ghost whispered to Marita, reminding her of the pain she had caused. She could not escape the ghost's presence, even when she went outside. The whispers followed her, telling her to go back into the hut. Marita's life became a living nightmare. The power she had gained through dark magic was now turning against her. The ghost was determined to make her pay for the suffering she had inflicted on the innocent. Marita could no longer bear the nightly visits from Chipo's ghost. Each time the ghost appeared, the torment grew worse. The whispers became louder. The mess in the kitchen became more chaotic, and the fear in Marita's heart more intense. She was driven to the brink of madness. During the day, Marita continued to mistreat Tawanda and Rutendo, but the cruelty was now fueled by her own fear and frustration. The children suffered greatly, but they noticed a change in their stepmother. She seemed more agitated and distracted, often muttering to herself. The villagers began to notice Marita's strange behavior too. She would often be seen talking to herself, her eyes darting around as if she was being watched. They whispered amongst themselves, wondering if Marita was truly losing her mind. Some even speculated that the spirits were punishing her for her evil deeds. Marita tried to escape the ghost's torment by staying outside the hut at night. She would sit by the fire, trembling with fear, but the whispers followed her. Chipo's ghost would appear, reminding her of her sins and threatening her to go back inside. Marita felt trapped, unable to find any peace. Farai grew more concerned about his wife's behavior. He could see that Marita was struggling, but he did not understand why. Whenever he asked her what was wrong, she would just shake her head and say nothing. Farai began to think that perhaps the stress of raising Tawanda and Rutendo was too much for her. The ghost was relentless. Her spirit was filled with sorrow and anger and being torn away from her children. She had to make Marita understand the pain she had caused. The ghost's nightly visit were her way of seeking justice and protecting her children. Marita's life was falling apart. The power and control she had once had were slipping away, replaced by fear and guilt. She could not escape Chipo's ghost, who was determined to make her pay for her evil deeds. The villagers, Farai, and the children were all watching, unaware of the supernatural battle taking place within the hut. The ghost made sure that Marita did not find any peace. Each night, the haunting in the kitchen grew worse. Dishes were scattered everywhere. Pots were overturned, and eerie whispers filled the air. Marita's heart pounded with fear, and she could barely sleep. One night, the ghost became more aggressive. She moved the dishes outside the hut, creating a trail that led to the edge of the village. Marita was terrified, but she knew she had to follow the trail. She walked through the dark, trembling with fear as the whispers grew louder. When she reached the end of the trail, the ghost appeared before her. Its eyes were filled with sorrow and anger. Marita fell to her knees, begging for mercy, but the ghost did not respond. Instead, she pointed back towards the hut, urging Marita to return. Marita stumbled back to the hut, her heart heavy with guilt and fear. She knew that the ghost would not stop until justice was served. Marita's nights were filled with torment and her days were filled with the dread of what was to come. Despite her fear, Marita continued to put on a facade for Farai and the villagers. She dressed the children in clean clothes and gave them large portions of food. But her heart was no longer in it. The children sensed her fear and confusion, but they did not understand the cause. Farai noticed the change in Marita, but he still believed that she was just stressed from taking care of the children. He tried to comfort her, but Marita pushed him away, afraid to tell him the truth. She knew that he would never believe her. The ghost was relentless. It continued to haunt the kitchen, scattering dishes and creating chaos. But each morning, she would clean up the mess, light the fire, and prepare food for her children. Marita's torment was never ending, and she knew that the ghost would not rest until justice was served. The villagers began to talk about the strange happenings in Farai's household. Some believed that the spirits were punishing Marita for her evil deeds, while others thought that she was losing her mind. But no one knew the true story of the ghostly torment that Marita faced every night. Marita's life had become a living nightmare. The power she had once gained through dark magic was now turning against her. The ghost was determined to make her pay for the suffering she had inflicted. Marita could not escape the haunting, and she knew that her time was running out. One day, while Marita was out gathering firewood, Tawanda and Rutendo overheard the villagers talking about the strange happenings at their home. They heard whispers about their mother's ghost seeking justice. The children felt a spark of hope and decided to investigate the mystery themselves. That night, they pretended to be asleep, waiting for the sounds that Marita had described. As the night grew darker, they heard the familiar clanging of dishes and the eerie whispers. Tawanda and Rutendo snuck into the kitchen and saw their mother's ghost for the first time. Her spectral figure moved gracefully, arranging the dishes and preparing food just like she used to. The children's eyes were filled with tears as they watched their mother's ghost. She turned and smiled at them, her face filled with love and sorrow. She gestured for them to stay quiet and continued her nightly tasks. Tawanda and Rutendo understood that their mother's spirit was protecting them and ensuring that they were cared for. In the morning, the children confronted Marita. They told her that they had seen their mother's ghost and that they knew that she was behind the strange happenings. Marita was shocked and terrified, realizing that the children now knew the truth. She tried to deny it, but the children were resolute. Tawanda and Rutendo's discovery gave them a newfound strength. They knew their mother's spirit was with them, and they vowed to honor her memory by standing up to Marita. The children's bravery marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, where they would no longer be victims of Marita's cruelty. News of the children's encounter with their mother's ghost spread through the village like wildfire. The villagers were both fascinated and frightened by the tale. Some believed it was a sign that the spirits were not at peace, while others thought it was a warning to Marita. The village elders decided to investigate the matter further. They called a meeting and invited Farai, Marita, and the children to speak. The elders listened carefully as Tawanda and Rutendo recounted their experience. Farai was stunned, struggling to comprehend the idea that his late wife's ghost was haunting their home. Marita tried to dismiss the children's story as mere imagination, but the elders were not convinced. They had seen the changes in Marita's behavior and the fear in her eyes. The villagers began to suspect that Marita had done something terrible to provoke the ghost's anger. The elders decided to consult Gogo Chimuti, a wise and respected figure in the village, known for her deep knowledge of the spirit world. The elders hoped that she would provide answers and bring peace to the troubled household. When Gogo Chimuti arrived, she sensed that dark magic had been used. She confronted Marita, demanding to know the truth. Marita, cornered and afraid, confessed to everything. Her envy of Chipo, the love potion, and the cruel treatment of the children. The villagers were horrified by Marita's confession. They realized that Chipo's ghost was seeking justice for the wrongs done to her and her children. Gogo Chimuti assured them that the spirit could be appeased, but it would require a sincere act of atonement from Marita. Gogo Chimuti gathered the villagers, Farai, Marita, and the children at the village square. She explained that Chipo's ghost needed to hear Marita's sincere apology and see her make her amends for her actions. Only then would the spirit find peace and leave their world. Marita, trembling with fear and guilt, stood before the villagers. She apologized to Chipo's ghost, her voice quivering with emotion. She confessed her envy and the use of dark magic to steal Farai and mistreat the children. Tears streamed down her face as she begged for forgiveness. Chipo's ghost appeared, a spectral form shimmering in the twilight. The villagers gasped, but Tawanda and Rutendo felt a sense of calm and warmth. The ghost listened to Marita's apology, her expression unreadable. The silence was heavy, and everyone held their breath, waiting for Chipo's response. Finally, the ghost spoke. Her voice was soft but firm, echoing through the village square. She told Marita that forgiveness could not come easily, but she would give her a chance to atone for her sins. The ghost demanded that Marita dedicate her life to caring for Tawanda and Rutendo, treating them with the love and respect they deserved. Marita, overwhelmed with relief and gratitude, promised to honor Chipo's wish. She vowed to change her ways and devote herself to making amends. The villagers, moved by the ghost's wisdom and mercy, pledged to support Marita in her journey of redemption. Marita's path to redemption was not easy. She struggled to change her ways and earn Tawanda and Rutendo's trust. The children were wary of her, still haunted by the memories of her cruelty. Marita had to prove her sincerity through her actions day by day. She began by making sure that the children were well fed and properly cared for. Marita took on household chores, ensuring that Tawanda and Rutendo had time to play with the other children. She listened to their stories and tried to be the loving stepmother they deserved. The villagers watched closely and were ready to intervene if Marita faltered. Gogo Chimuti visited regularly, guiding Marita and reminding her of the importance of her promise. Farai, too, played a crucial role in supporting Marita and the children. He spent more time with his family, trying to mend broken bonds. Tawanda and Rutendo slowly began to see the changes in Marita. They noticed her efforts and sincerity, but the scars of the past ran deep. It took time for them to trust her again fully, but they started to open their hearts bit by bit. Chipo's ghost appeared less frequently, a sign that she was finding peace. When she did appear, it was with a gentle smile, watching over her children and ensuring that Marita stayed true to her promise. The villagers felt the spirit's presence and took it as a sign that they, too, had to support the family's healing process. Marita's journey of redemption was long and hard, but she persevered. She knew that her actions had caused immense pain and that it was her duty to make things right. The villagers, once filled with suspicion and fear, began to see her as a changed woman, genuinely trying to atone for her past. Months passed, and the village witnessed Marita's transformation. Her dedication to Tawanda and Rutendo grew stronger every day. The children, though still cautious, began to accept her as part of their family. They could see the genuine remorse in her eyes and the love in her actions. Farai, who had been torn between his love for Chipo and his duty to Marita, found solace in the changes he saw. He admired Marita's determination to make amends and supported her every step of the way. The family began to heal, their bonds growing stronger with each passing day. The villagers, who had once whispered about Marita's cruelty, now spoke of her redemption. They saw her efforts and recognized the strength it took to change. The community came together, offering support and encouragement to the family. The spirit of Chipo, once restless and sorrowful, now seemed at peace. One evening, as the family sat around the fire, Chipo's ghost appeared one last time. She smiled at her children, her eyes filled with love and pride. Tawanda and Rutendo felt a warmth in their hearts, knowing their mother was watching over them. Chipo's ghost looked at Marita, her expression softening. "You have done well," Chipo's ghost said. "Continue to love and care for my children. They deserve happiness and peace. Remember your promise." Marita nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I will, Chipo. I will never forget my promise. Thank you for giving me a chance to make things right." With a final, loving glance at her family, Chipo's ghost faded into the night. The air felt lighter, and a sense of calm settled over the hut. The family knew that Chipo's spirit had found peace at last, and they felt a renewed sense of hope and unity. Marita, Farai, Tawanda, and Rutendo sat together, their hearts filled with love and gratitude. The journey had been difficult, but they had found their way back to each other. The village, once marked by sorrow and fear, now thrived with the spirit of forgiveness and redemption. With Chipo's ghost at peace, the family focused on building a new life together. Marita continued to care for Tawanda and Rutendo, showering them with love and support. The children, in turn, began to see her as a true mother figure. The past, though not forgotten, was healing with each day that passed. Farai, deeply moved by the transformation in his family, dedicated more time to being with them. He worked alongside Marita, ensuring the household ran smoothly and the children felt secure and loved. The bond between Farai and Marita grew stronger, rooted in their shared commitment to their family's well-being. The villagers, inspired by the family's journey, also began to change. They became more supportive and compassionate, understanding the importance of forgiveness and community. The elders, guided by Gogo Chimuti, organized regular gatherings where villagers could share their stories and support each other. Marita found solace in these gatherings. She shared her experiences and the lessons she had learned, hoping to inspire others to choose love and forgiveness over envy and hatred. Her story became a testament to the power of redemption and the strength of the human spirit. Tawanda and Rutendo thrived in this new environment. They grew into kind and compassionate individuals. They never forgot their mother and honored her memory by living with integrity and love. They also came to respect and love Marita, appreciating her efforts to make amends and be a good mother. The family's journey was a powerful reminder of the importance of forgiveness, love, and community. They had faced darkness and pain, but emerged stronger and united. The village, once marked by sorrow, now thrived with hope and resilience. As the sun set over the village, Marita, Farai, Tawanda, and Rutendo sat together, their hearts filled with gratitude. They knew that their journey was far from over, but they were ready to face whatever came their way, together as a family. And in the gentle breeze that swept through the village, they felt the loving presence of Chipo watching over them and guiding them towards a brighter future.